All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I want to ask if you would join me in a word of prayer, and we'll follow that with a pledge to the flag. Heavenly Father, we do come before you today to thank you for all the things that you've blessed us with. Lord, most of all, thank you for blessing us with your Son, Jesus Christ, that through him we might find salvation and eternal life. Father, we just ask you to be with us in this meeting today, to help our minds be clear and open to the things that would be pleasing in your sight. And Lord, we just ask you to watch over the folks here in Simpson County, that you would just keep us safe and help us to be a community that glorifies and lifts you up. And Father, we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, we got a pretty lengthy agenda. You've got a couple of items that are on your portal that did not make it to the agenda listing. One would be the Simpson County Weather Station resolution, and one court facilities local government reimbursement. The information's on your portal, but they're not listed here, so we're going to try to move through this as quickly as we can today. First, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the April 19th fiscal court meeting, we need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So much.
Motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have with us Mr. Stefan Ekman with Horace Solar. We have to review and approve their decommissioning plan. And so, Mr. Ekman, you're welcome. I'm not sure how well that'll work, but we have paper copies if we need be.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm sorry, I guess.
Thank you for your time. I'll try to keep it relatively short. So we are here for the decommissioning plan. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to introduce ourselves, our company, since the last owner of this project was a different entity, OPD Energy. So Silicon Ranch, we were based in Nashville, Tennessee. We were started about 11 years ago. One of our founders was former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen, along with members of his economic development group, who saw the need for solar development as an economic development tool. So we focus on communities throughout the Southeast, but as of recently have been expanding. So we're currently in 16 states. We're one of the largest independent power producers specializing in solar, but we differentiate ourselves through a number of ways, through a focus on community, keeping the land in agricultural production through sheep grazing, and other regenerative energy aspects that are related to agriculture. So here on this slide, you'll see we design, own, and operate our projects. So we don't go into a project hoping to sell it to anyone. We will be in there for the long run. We'll be the owners for the 40-year life of the project. We can pass the next slide. So this is just a quick map showing the states that we're located in, the 16 states. As you can see, a majority of the operating projects are focused in the Southeast. I'll focus on our Kentucky projects in the next slide. Thank you. So our experience in Kentucky, so our project in Garrett County, the Turkey Creek Solar Project, is actually the first project to have been approved by the Kentucky State Siting Board on electric generation and transmission. This is the State Public Service Commission entity that's focusing on permitting for any of these projects above 10 megawatts. So that project is currently in construction. It'll be completed by September of this year. And that's in just outside of Lancaster, Kentucky. Other than that, we are also the owners of the Logan County Solar Farm in Logan County. That's 173 megawatts, also battery storage combined with that site. And that'll be in a similar timeline to this project with commercial operations in late 2023. So just a quick overview on this project. So this is a 69 megawatt project. It's 551 acres under lease. Of that 550 acres, approximately 360, give or take 15 acres, will be fenced in within the full project design. And those project components include solar panels, which track the sun north to south to maximize the energy production, as well as the racking that the panels are located on, the inverters, access roads, security fencing, and then the substation transformer at the interconnection location on TVA's transmission line. For this site, we're going to minimize grading as much as possible. We want to make sure that we keep the land, as close to its original state as possible. And again, we'll be grazing sheep on the property as well. So this is the latest project layout, which I showed recently to the Planning Commission. This is so showing two areas. You'll notice there's a lot of areas that we have to set back from. We're avoiding karst features, as well as the cemetery towards the south. We have a 250-foot buffer from the cemetery. So you'll notice our two main access roads are Tyree Chapel Road and Hendricks Road towards the north. And those different yellow points are the different receptors, potential receptors that might be able to that are within proximity of the site. So, but we've included landscape buffers throughout our design to account for any areas that might be visible to nearby landowners. So speaking of those buffers, so this is one area. So this is looking south from Tyree Chapel Road. This is a proposed buffer of 2 rows of staggered evergreen trees. So they would be at least 6 feet at planting. You can see it does a pretty good job of mitigating that visual impact. And if you could pass to the next slide, please. And this is the unbuffered viewpoint. And this is a 3D rendering from that point. Just a couple more. If you could pass to the next slide, please. One more. So this is looking south from Tyree Chapel. So this is similar to what our neighbor just north of Hendricks Road might see. So this is with the buffer. And then if you pass to the next slide, you can see the unbuffered view. Okay. And then this is from Peden Mill Road. This is on the east side of the project. You can see out in the distance, you see some blue. Those are the panels. And then if you switch to the next slide, you can see what the proposal with the buffer would be. The first slide, I think, is less of an impact on the landscape. So here we might propose screen fencing instead of the trees, but those are both options. If you could. And this is one point, the southeast corner of this along Peden Mill Road. As you can see, the natural topography obscures the view of the panels, so you can't even see the project. So getting to the decommissioning plan, which we're here to discuss. So the decommissioning plan, we worked with a third party called HDR to review. They've had some experience with lots of other developers, and just wanted to make sure that we are meeting all the requirements of the state as well as what's included in the ordinance here. So it describes the anticipated project life, the estimated cost, the method of funding, details on how the project would be decommissioned, and then the site would be restored to its original state. A security would be filed with Simpson County Fiscal Court, and that would be equal to the net decommissioning cost, which is the decommissioning cost minus the salvage value. And that would be in place prior to start of operations. So operations here are so fall of 23, so we'll have that bond in place before it's up and running. And that bond amount, per the requirements of the state, would be reviewed every 5 years So, it's a 40-year project life. If anything changes, it'll get reviewed and updated. And then the decommission includes removal of the panels, the racking, inverters, access roads, AC collection, so any wiring underneath the ground up to 3 feet. If it's more than 3 feet, sometimes we discuss with the landowner because it could cause a lot of damage. But also security fencing, access roads. Access roads we might maintain if we're improving the roads. It might be up to discretion of the community to keep those as we've improved them. And then restoration of any disturbed soil and revegetation of the site. So going to the next slide, this is just a review of the total estimate. So this would be the security amount that's posted. So the decommissioning cost we have is $5.6 million with a salvage value at roughly $3.1 million. That cost includes the cost of labor, equipment, materials based on RS means, which is a construction cost modeling input. And then the net salvage value is based on the salvage value of those materials, metals, and recycling costs. So that's what we've proposed in the decommissioning plan, which you have separately. And that's what we would propose to keep updating as the design gets changed. So that would be fluid, and we'd make sure that we're including all the project components in it.
So basically, the decommissioning plan, I mean, to sum it up in real simple terms, is you basically put the land back in the state that it was prior to the panels, and there's a bond in place to cover the cost of doing so in case something happens and you're not there to do it. There's a bond in place that we have the money to take care of it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that's, I think, all I had on the decommissioning. I think a couple more slides, but so this is just the project schedule. I can just real quickly go through this. So we are currently in the process of selecting an EPC, an engineering, procurement, and construction partner. So this would be the entity that constructs the facility, is putting in the vegetative buffers, and we'll have someone in place by end of May. And then soon after that, we'll be finalizing the design. The outer design is already complete, so nothing will change as far as the outer boundary of the project. It'll just be which panels, components are included within the design that would change. And then project commissioning would be September of next year. So that's around when it would be operational.
Okay.
And I think that's all I had.
So, gentlemen, what we need to do is this form here, which is the S.R. Simpson Solar Decommissioning Plan. We just need a motion and a second to approve this decommissioning plan so that they can move forward with the project.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any question or discussion?
I was just going to ask, you was talking about it less than 40 years. Do you not see you continuing to lease on after 40 years? Or, I mean, or are you just planning on keeping it for 40 years and then doing away with all of it?
Yeah, so it's a good question because there's a lot, the solar industry is very new and there's a lot of these sites that are reaching 20 years and they're wondering what to do with them. But we do have in our lease the options to extend for 2 additional 5-year periods. So if we did, say, repower them, we would extend the bond to meet the extensions. But it's possible that the technology's improved a lot, 30 years down the line, and we would secure a new contract with TVA and improve the facilities.
The other question, when you was talking about the access roads, you're talking like Tyree Chapel Road and other roads. If you cause damage on those, you're willing to fix those back or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. So we'd be responsible for maintenance of the access roads.
Is that in this, in writing, or?
I believe it's
Okay.
all the access roads.
All right.
Any other question or discussion? And Pam, you can have my copy to file away. But the motion by Myron, second by Scott. If there's no further question or discussion, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carried.
Thank you.
Mr. Fawn, thank you.
Welcome to the county.
Okay.
Thanks
Next, gentlemen, is to review and approve second reading and final passage of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.238. This is amendment number 8. We had first reading at our last meeting, and this is excess revenues that's coming into the jail from state funding that wasn't anticipated when we made the budget a year ago.
So move.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? Pam will do a roll call on the ordinance.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Herman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. Next, gentlemen, is to review and approve first reading of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.239. This is amendment number 9, and it's again the same excess revenue. This was, if I'm understanding right, back pay back to March of 20 for this House Bill 556.
it's March 1st, 2021 through March 31st of 22.
Okay, there we go, a year's worth.
So moved, Mason.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? Pam will do a roll call on the first reading of that ordinance.
Myron Herman,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. All right, so these next 4 items are things that we have to do because that we approved the clerk and the sheriff's budget for an annual budget in January, and then we work on our fiscal year budget that talks about salaries, raises, and so on and so forth, and we have set maximum salaries for the sheriff and the clerk's office, but with our budget, we're going to have to make amendments to that, and these amendments reflect those changes, if that makes sense to all of you.
Yeah, they were figured at 3% raises.
Right.
and we're doing 7.
So, the next 4 items should be pretty simple and easy here. We need a motion and a second to approve the amended county clerk's 2022 budget.
So move.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. And next would be to a motion and a second to approve the amended county clerk's 2022 annual order setting maximum salary for deputies.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nate, and I didn't know, was that Scott or Myron?
Myron.
So a motion by Nate, second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, is we need a motion and a second to approve the amended sheriff's 2022 budget.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Then, gentlemen, we need a motion and a second to approve the amended sheriff's 2022 annual order setting maximum salaries for deputies.
So moved.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion there? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. That brings us down to the fiscal year 22-23 budget. Of course, there was a note included with the budget draft that has to go to DLG. I would say that this has probably been, we were the beneficiary of being here at the right place at the right time. We had a 30-year bond for the jail, and we just happen to be the folks that are sitting here when that gets paid off. The state has added funding for the jail that we're the beneficiary of that too.
Long overdue.
Not that, as the counselor points out, some of this was really long overdue. The per diem thing was not, in my opinion, it's very appreciated, long overdue, still not what it should be,
Exactly.
but it's better. We're looking at this budget. We've got something plugged into this budget, to my knowledge. I mean, I know it hasn't happened in the 4 budgets that I've been involved with, don't know that it's happened prior to this. Nicole could answer for where it's been for the last several years. The opportunity to get the fire department's large vehicle purchases on a rotation plan and have the funding there for that, so that we're not taking, hits or possibly not having to bond a payment when it comes time to buy $1 million fire truck. So we've got all of that plugged in and are still in really good shape with the budget. So with that, I will make a motion to approve first reading of fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance number 220.240, and I would need a second to that budget, and then we'll have discussion.
I'll second it.
We've got a motion. I made the motion. Marty second. Any question or discussion?
I was just gonna say on that, topic you brought up about the fire, we dropped it from 161 to 120,
Right.
because the city's gonna be putting some in.
Yes.
So we've got confirmation.
We do have confirmation therein. So we took the big purchases that the chief had presented us, like the major purchases where they've absolutely agreed to be 50-50 on, and then the rest of the operating expense of the jail where they cover roughly 37 or 8%, Nicole, something like that? 30-some% of the fire department operation?
Yeah, with their contribution for the interlocal agreement.
Yeah. So we took all of that, and we felt like that we could comfortably drop that to 120 as a starting point, and then we can just evaluate as need be as time goes.
So, moving on, another thing is on my mind this morning. We did not hear from the coroner's office.
Did not, I sent the coroner an email immediately after our last meeting and explained that we had questions and concerns and invited him to be here today, and I heard no response.
I had one more thing here and I can't find it.
What you got down for the building inspector, that's also going to be a codes enforcement in that.
Yes,
I didn't see it on there.
What was the date, what was our date of we advertised for the, whatever, the week of the 13th or 14th, that Friday is when we're supposed to have applications and resumes in. So we'll get those, and as of yet, we've not received any applications or resumes, but once we get them, I mean, we'll go through and do interviews and so on and so forth. But yes, that will be part of it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that.
And of course, we also, as we talked about in the previous budget discussions, we've left some part-time money plugged in.
For Ron.
Well, for a Ron or whoever that can
Whoever,
fill in,
yeah.
like vacation or sick days or so on and so forth like that.
Right.
And the city's aware of what we've established the potential salary to be. They're also aware that we have left in some hours for part-time fill-in for days off and so forth.
Okay.
Now, the extra pay or incentive pay, whatever we want to call it, it is included in this
Yes.
budget. I would like to acknowledge that we do have a problem. We have a problem with our start-out pay, and probably in all departments. And may have a max, I don't know, somewhere down the road, we're going to have to address this because of the job market that we're have to deal with out here today. I've read through all this here, and I would like to make it clear that I am supporting all the county employees, and in doing that, being fair is where I start. So that's I wanted to make certain that everybody understood that when I made a comment of the 7% across the line, that was being fair. That's the same. It's a shame we've got different jobs, we've got different expertise levels, and in with that, we're always going to have different pay levels. But I do think that we need to address, probably should had already, but we need to address the start-out pay for every single job description, every job we have in this county, every job.
Well, you know, Myron, that's one of the things that I had talked about early on. We looked at it, but we never really done anything with it, was, you know, go department by department.
Exactly.
Job by job.
That's right.
And determine where we should be. I think we need to do it.
I think it's necessary. Everybody knows where they're at. There's no questions, there's no ill feelings. I hope there's no ill feelings, you know. So
I was also informed by the county treasurer, I think I was, I don't want her to flog me after this meeting, that there's never been a 7% raise issued to county employees in her recollection. Did you tell me that, or did I dream that?
I've never,
I bet there has.
I'm thinking in 16 years, maybe
I've been here almost,
3% was the highest we've ever give to, but we've never had inflation the way we've got.
We've never had inflation
like
the
that.
way it is. And here's the thing, just so we're talking, and there's people watching this, there's mostly county employees, candidate for an office, citizen here, people watching here. You have to understand one thing. Since I've been here, since I've been sitting in this seat, and we've had back and forth about budgets and what we need to do, and I have voted in favor of some things, and I've voted against some things, and the vote's gone my way sometimes and not gone my way the other times. We don't, this group of guys right here, we don't leave this meeting and cry and complain and bash one another after it's over and complain about it. But the one thing that we have done since I've been here is your property tax rate has dropped from 10.5 cents per $100 value down to 10. But the growth has kept that number up higher. So we have generated more revenue because of growth, but with the growth, we've also generated more expenses. I mean,
Yes.
it costs more to take care of more. You can't. It's no different than raising a household. If you've got one child, your cost for raising that kid in that household is one number. If you've got 6 children, the cost in that household to raise that household is a different number. Is that correct, Counselor?
I know it is with 4.
So the point being, you can have a community of 15 or 18,000, and then you get to a community of 20 or 22,000, the costs are more. So we've been blessed to have the growth that's brought some revenue. And the good thing about this budget is even with the, if you pull out the money, you could pull out the money that the state has honored us with some of these things, and our budget's still in good shape even if we pull that money out.
It's not about,
Yeah.
this issue is not
Yeah.
actually about money. With me, it's not.
Right,
It's
I
just,
got you.
You know,
Yeah, you was talking about the cost of living raises. A few years ago, we did, about 3 years ago, we did 1% raise. That was the year we did that. And we had one department that sent a letter said they didn't even want to raise, we couldn't do no more than that. You know, so it's just,
Just for.
we do the best we can.
Yeah. I mean,
Judge, just for clarification purposes, I've been here almost as long as Marty has, and there was one year that the CPI was 1/10 of 1%.
my,
Yeah.
This is before your all's tenure, but I'm just saying 1/10 of 1%.
that's really not a raise.
That's not, that was a CPI. Of course, it's like 7 now, but I'm just saying it's run the gamut.
And I was at the Brad held their legislative luncheon last week. Their monthly meeting was the legislative luncheon last week. So there was several state lawmakers there. And there were a couple of those state lawmakers talking about they anticipate the state to increase wages as much or more next year than they did this year in their state budget.
Really?
That's what they said.
Because I think the state this year give the employees an 8% raise.
8%, yeah.
One thing that's not in here that, and I'm sure we can make a line item for it later, but if we do find out we can do something through wellness with the insurance.
Yeah.
We've had some employees ask about gym memberships, and if we can, I don't know how many would be interested in them. As soon as we find out that number, I'm sure we can find them.
Yeah,
We may have to, I don't know if we'd have to create a line item if we could, where we could put it at, but it's not gonna be much money,
Right,
but,
and it's hard to plug something in that you don't know.
Yeah.
But we're at budget amendment number 9 for the current one, so we can make a budget
Oh, yeah.
amendment if we
Yeah.
do something of that nature.
all right.
Any other question or discussion?
Well, when you're talking about a minimum salary, do you not think that we should have maybe a top-out salary for these jobs? Which would increase
Well, yeah,
every year?
I think you need a salary range. If y'all recall, what I proposed before, what I brought, and we looked at, but we never took any action on it, is you have your starting salaries, and I think, you don't have to get up and talk, neither one of you, but you can nod your head yea or nay. You know, I talked to the jailer and the sheriff both about, y'all put together for your departments, you know, these salary ranges, and they looked at it and all. But yes, you go, what I would think makes sense is you've got your starting salaries, and you look at what those positions should do over the first 5 years. And then by year 6, what that employee should be at at least by year 6, and then what should happen over year 6 to year 10. And you get to maybe after 20 years, you know, it's kind of topped, and then from that point, you're just getting your CPI or whatever. I mean, we can take a look at all of that.
You know, I'd
Because
like,
like I've said before, the sky's not the limit. I wish it was, but
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, we gotta, but we're gonna lose, we are losing folks to other places because of pay. I mean, we do have good benefits, but
well, that's
you
just,
still gotta buy
that's
groceries and buy gas, and
just part of it.
we can't starve people to death.
And right now, we got to buy gas at $3.72 a gallon. And it was $3.65 a gallon a week ago.
Who would have thought that'd been a bargain, huh?
Should have stocked up at $3.65.
That's right.
Well, in me finishing up, I would like to just see a 7% across the board, and I'd like to work diligent, hard, very hard, of getting a pay schedule in line for the next fiscal year, so we've got a direction. So we've got a direction.
Yeah.
Did we keep
Understand.
did we keep the same amount of road money in here? Or have they ever given us an updated number?
We got the new, in this
I say
budget.
909 on that county road aid agreement, but,
Yes.
Okay,
We
so-
got the updated county road aid number is in this
You
budget.
take
Okay.
3% out of that.
Yeah,
That's the number.
the 3% holdback.
right.
Yeah. All right.
And one thing I'd like to mention, I guess, of course, we're looking at numbers here, and of course, we were fortunate to pay the large bond off at the jail. But I'm looking at and I don't know whether this right here is the same on my portal as what I'm seeing here now.
Which are you in, which budget fund are you in?
I'm in the transfer in from the jail.
Okay.
I just, you know, we're $400,000 less on that, but we went from 998,000 budgeted for this fiscal year to an estimated of 196,000.
Well, and that number changed because we found a typo in the jail.
Do you remember in your
revenues.
note, in that note that I gave you, there was a typo in one line on the jail fund?
Yeah.
Hang on here just a second.
Yeah, line number, I put it in that line 4567.
So now it's 257,493.
But I would like to make comment that I like to thank everybody that's worked hard on that particular phase of that, because that's,
It sure helps to have a $400,000 bond payment gone.
it sure does.
And the extra
Sure does.
300,000, so if you added that 700, we'd still be at 950, you know, we'd transfer in, if the state hadn't give us that extra 300, we hadn't got the bond paid off, then we'd still be at 950 on the
So it's that-
transfer in.
We're fortunate to be the recipients of good timing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pam, if there's no other questions, we've got a motion and a second for this budget. We need a roll call, please.
Mason Barnes,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
No.
So that carried 4-1. All right, next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the fiscal year 22-23 County Road Aid Cooperative Program Agreement, we need a motion and a second to pass the resolution to enter into this agreement and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved, Mason.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Myron. Any question or discussion? And this was the question that Marty asked about, was in the budget. It come back, it was, how much was it, Nicole?
909 is what's in here.
900 and some thousand.
909,
Which they hold back 3%.
Right. Now, you can opt out of that 3%, but it's not wise.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, we have a motion and a second. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries,
882,553.
with the 3% held back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just in case anybody's listening that wants 3%, they take 3% of your money and put it in an emergency fund. If you have a bridge collapse or whatever, you can pull out of the emergency road fund. So that's why we hold that's why they hold the 3% back. It helps for
Correct.
emergencies.
All right, next, gentlemen, y'all remember we approved to solicit proposals for the engineering on the Kenny Perry Bridge project. We received 2 proposals. You've got both of those on the portal. One was with Precision Engineering, and that amount was $28,690, and one was with Arnold Consulting and Engineering Services at $13,500, and I think, Bobby, the recommendation is to go with Arnold Consulting at $13,500. So we need a motion and a second to approve that engineering bid and authorize the county judge to sign any paperwork or documents that's necessary to.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty? Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? Or Bobby, anything you want to say to it?
Bobby, have you talked to them about how much they're going to change the approach on the east side of it, or?
Well, we talked about it, that maybe the Corps of Engineers, the state may have to say so about how the height we can do that.
Okay.
We just tell them we like as much as we can get.
Okay,
No design.
okay. But it's not going to be, are you planning on doing like a slope side like the rest of the bridges? Okay. Okay, all right.
All right, so we had the motion and the second. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is, we need to authorize setting the date and advertising for fiscal year 22-23 county road aid and local government economic assistance hearings. So the suggestion would be to set those hearings for 8:30 a.m. on May 24th at our special called meeting.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, here's one that didn't make it on the agenda, but it's on the portal there. If y'all recall, back in probably early 2020, we approved entering into this resolution with the weather station project through WKU. The project didn't go at that time, but now it's back on and will operate. And I don't know, if you've got questions, Bob may be able to answer more so than I can. But if we do want to participate now that we have the approval, we would need to do actually 2 resolutions. One to participate in the program, and then the second one is to pay the fee. And the fee, here's the downside to it. The fee is increased to $130 from when we talked about it in early 2020. it was gonna be $845 then, now it's $975. Everything else about it is the same except that initial startup fee.
Is,
Or our 13% match is $130 more.
if I'm saying this right, is this Mesonet out on, so we already have one in Simpson County?
We have a mesonet.
Yeah.
They want to add it on for the schools.
For the schools.
But is it the same as Mesonet? I mean, is it, I'm just seeking information because I don't know.
I mean, it's the same type of function, but it's not the Kentucky Mesonet.
Okay.
It's not nearly as extensive
It's
as
the
the mesonet
same,
side
but
is.
different.
Yes.
It's not nearly as elaborate as the mesonet side is.
So the
It's-
school system can't use that?
The mesonet side?
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's available to anybody. This is, the thought was each county's got where their mesonet side is, but if there's something happening on the other side of the county, it's a little different. Their thoughts were to spread it out in each county and get 2 points that they could get information from instead of just one.
And will this project be used for educational purposes for students?
That was the plan.
That's what I was thinking.
To let the schools tie into it.
And you got to remember, the last time we discussed this was over 2 years ago.
It's been a long
So
time since we've discussed it.
Yeah.
It's the two, we just mentioned the two points that brought it up. One is to give us 2 different points of information in the county, and the other is meteorology or science programs in the schools tie into both of them so they can do comparisons in proximity. Within
So where will this be located? I mean,
Last discussion we had was over at the county barn. That was the last discussion, but
And then it's $500 a year.
That's not changed, that's the same
Right.
as it was.
But we haven't been paying this because we haven't been
No,
doing
we haven't paid it because we weren't selected. The email that was sent to us from the Brad says they submitted that proposal to the state and of one weather station in each of the 10 counties, and the project was not selected at that time. And so they submitted the project again when the new disaster opened up, and the state has selected the project to move forward with the application process. Now, I guess, and Bob, you can correct me here, but it moved forward with the application process. If something falls by the wayside, it could not happen again.
correct.
But
There's-
it's opened up again. The biggest difference is, or really the only difference is, this time from 2020, is our 13% match would now cost $975 versus it was $845 in 2020.
Is the state paying part of the cost of the weather station?
Of this,
Yeah,
it's coming through federal grants.
because I can't see you getting a lot for $975.
Well, that's only that's just 13, there's another 87,
Yeah, that's only.
So that's 13% of it.
13%.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a question. I mean, we had approved it in 2020 for $845 and felt like that it was positive for the community.
So moved.
do
All right,
it now,
so,
yeah.
well, so we gotta have 2 motions. I think the counselor will require us to have 2 motions. One will be to enter into a resolution to participate with the Barren River Area Development District for the weather station and authorize the judge to sign that one. Is that the motion you're making, Marty?
Sure.
Okay. We got a motion to enter into the agreement with Barren River District to do this. We need a second.
Second.
A second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion. Then next, we would need a motion and a second to enter into the resolution to agree to pay the 13% local match at $975 and then the annual fee of $500 to WKU to participate.
So,
Got a motion by Nate, second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? That motion carries. And then the final thing in this portion of the budget is we were sent this information on the court facilities local government reimbursement. They do their calculations and determine that what they should be paying is $217,300, which is down roughly $7,000 from last year. I like how county government is subjected to calculations and actions by the state that we really have no say in. We just kind of take what we get.
They come and do an audit and pull everything. And of course, it's all, this funding is based on a prior year expenses. And they come down from the state and do an audit and do records and all that fun stuff, and then send us that paper, and there you
See,
go.
I like business dealings where there's negotiation.
No
But
negotiation.
I guess we don't get negotiation in this. We just get, here it is.
I guess since they are supposed to be paying all the money on the building and they're paying all the expense of it, they can, that's the reason they said it the way they do.
So I guess we have the option of saying, we can vote and say, okay, and we can take the $217,000, or we can say, no, thank you, and we get nothing.
Well, and they also, AOC, a couple years ago, put out that net court revenue that we budget in the general fund, which is $30,000, that funding is supposed to be used for Justice Center projects.
Right.
And we have to track that now
Yeah.
and make sure that that's accounted for and used for the Justice Center.
So at any rate, if we want to get this money, we need a motion and a second to approve this court facilities local government reimbursement form and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty?
Second.
Was that you, Myron?
yeah.
Okay, motion by Marty, second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Moving into the financial business, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
So move.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we'll need a motion and a second to approve a cash transfer of $22,094.21 from the federal grant fund to the general fund.
It's HIDA and COPS.
HIDA and COPS.
Second.
Got a motion by Scott, second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Would you repeat those, the names?
Motion, Scott Poston motion, Nate Downey second.
Thank you.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Have we done that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still in
I got-
favor of it.
I got thrown
I'm
off.
sorry.
I got thrown off. All right. Next is a motion to approve a cash transfer of $37,920 from the general fund to the jail fund. The reason being, it's going to come up in my report, we're moving the next meeting, so we're extended a week out.
And this is, you'll notice there's a bond payment in the claims, and I just went ahead and took that, because that's, I mean, we put that transfer in, so
Yeah.
much of it is to cover, making sure that bond payment is covered, the cash-wise.
Yeah.
So I just pulled that cash to cover that payment, so.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve those bills and claims as presented.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Nate, second by Marty. Any question or discussion about the claims? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. One more item, gentlemen. If you had an opportunity to look over the April 30th, 2022 financial statement, we need a motion and a second to approve that financial statement subject to audit
So
and
moved.
authorize the county treasurer and county judge to sign it.
Marty.
Got Marty make the
Second.
motion,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Into reports. We're going to get through this a lot quicker than I thought we would. I figured we'd be here till lunchtime. I told these ladies to pack a sack lunch yesterday.
They bring enough for everybody?
Do what?
Did they bring enough for everybody?
I don't think so.
Oh, whatever.
I don't think they even brought a sack.
Well, then let's go on with it so we get out.
All right. So, reports, just want to make the public aware, make sure everyone else is aware. Early voting will start on Thursday, May the 12th. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, May 12th, 13th, and 14th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. right here in the courthouse. Then the polls will be down Sunday and Monday to get ready for the election day, May 17th. May 17th, there'll be 3 polling places open, the courthouse here, the Ag Building out at the park, and Simpson Elementary, and the polls on Tuesday, May the 17th will be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And it doesn't matter where your precinct is or where you're supposed to vote, you vote either of the 3.
Right.
But you can't vote at all 3.
Yeah, well, true.
That's what the sheriff said.
Yeah, true. That is very true. With that being the case, with May 17th being Election Day and running polls here from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and different ones on the court and county government involved in local races, we're going to cancel our May 17th regular meeting, but we will schedule a special called meeting for the following Tuesday, May 24th at 8:30. I got a call yesterday, and they're talking about the quarry out at Hanson Aggregates operating, like crushing stone and running trucks up 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the question was a noise ordinance. And I told the gentleman that called that I understood his concern and I appreciated it. But to my knowledge, I'm not aware of a county noise ordinance. And I'm not sure that, and I told this gentleman that, I'm not sure that we want to impose a noise ordinance that would prohibit business activities.
I agree.
So I just thought I'd mention it. I told him I would mention it at the court meeting.
Here's what I can see happening with that. I mean, I was still planting corn at 11:30 last night. And somebody may not like the fact that the tractors, and I mean, you have to do it. When you kind of do it, you gotta do it. They could be calling on me or anybody out running late at night, you know, trying to do field work. I don't know. I know when the other quarry, Dewey's quarry, they put on that business, there was a time that they could go to. But Hanson's has been in business so long, I don't know if there was any kind of regulations set like that.
By all recollection, what we've been able to determine was the Hanson Quarry was operational in the mid-1930s.
Yeah.
So.
I doubt very seriously if there was anything.
Well, that's what Bobby and I were talking about. I would say there's no telling how far away the closest residence was to that quarry in the 1930s when it started.
But then, again, of course, I don't live out there by it, but I've purchased some aggregates from them, and they close at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it really surprises me when you,
Well,
but I know Scotty's also does work out there too. I believe they've got a part of that lease, so it could be Scotty's doing it instead of.
I think I-65 expansion.
Yeah, I think Hanson got the contract on this expansion in the north side of Tennessee, and I think they have started a second shift operation, but they're not blasting. They're just probably crushing stone and loading trucks out.
Okay.
But then, like I've had a guy call me about a noise ordinance, but his neighbor's working on lawnmowers at 10, 11, 12 o'clock.
Well, another thing you have to keep in mind,
That kind of ticks them off.
people that,
But I mean, I don't know how you can do one, not
Yeah,
do the other.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
another thing you have to keep in mind, people who are at farm, and when we got in the fall, and in the summer too, when we're drying grain, those fans will be on
Yep.
24 hours a day.
Yeah,
So, it's just part of living in the country, really.
Yeah.
All I can say.
yeah.
And the best thing, if you have a problem, just don't try to make somebody do something, just go talk to them. I mean, if you've got, if something is, of course, I know you can't go out and talk to the corporation, out there in Hanson, but if you've got an issue with a neighbor, a lot of times they can be resolved by simply just going on and going, hey, I need some sleep, could you mind, doing something, trying to help me out from midnight to 6 or something, and if you try to work with people, most of the time you can get accomplished what you want to get done.
Very true. All right, one other thing that I want to mention, because I want y'all to be thinking this over, and if this is a direction we want to move, and I feel like it is, I feel like we should be thinking about this. I can get more information and have it on that agenda for the 24th. But Bill and I met yesterday with a gentleman with an architectural firm that primarily does government building architecture. And we just had a discussion about the clerk's office of what tentative cost might be, architectural engineering cost, cost of building. Because we talked briefly about the ARPA funding, and there's a lot of good things we can do, but if we have the ability to put this building up without borrowing any money, and we get a building that will be of use for 40, 50, 60 years or beyond to the county, I can't think of a better use of that money than doing a building that doesn't cost a big bond payment. We just finished a 30-year bond payment. I'd prefer not to start another one. So at any rate, having said that, this gentleman indicated that probably the architectural and engineering cost would be roughly in the $100,000 range, and the expectation of a building between 8,000 and 9,000 square foot. And the reason we chose that number is currently the clerk PVA building is 5,600 square feet. You can get up into that 9,000 square foot range without having to go through the expense of the sprinklers and some other commercial things, but you get close to about doubling the space, and I feel like that would be something that would carry us for several years. And the guy was talking about where we could put it. You could also build it to where you could do another 20 or 25 foot extension to the backside of this property if you needed to, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. But he said that his anticipation, obviously you won't know till you bid it out, but just his experience in being involved in bidding projects similar to this over the past several months, to expect this building to run in the $2 million range.
So what they have over there now is 2,500 on the bottom and 2,500 on top. Basically, if it's 5,000.
No, I think it's more space on the ground than the upstairs floor. Yeah,
Oh, the top's just one half, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, that's what I suggested when I talked to, of course, I brought this up at the forum, that I think we need a new clerk PVA building. That building is out of room.
Out of room.
And we were asked, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, they were saying we need to spend $150,000 on that building to upgrade the electric and to change things around. And
We said no.
I told them I wouldn't vote to spend any money on that building because it wouldn't change the
Doesn't give us
capacity.
any more space.
Yeah, it wouldn't change anything. So I'm 100% in favor of looking at that.
And we can do, if y'all, depending on what, and I'm good to go with this today. I mean, say, let's get it all together. On professional services, your bid threshold for purchases and goods and so forth is $30,000 and under. For professional services, we're not required to even solicit bids. We can, but we're not required to. I don't have a problem soliciting bids But I like the idea of working with an architectural company that has done this size and style of local government buildings in this area.
Would this be a one-story or a two-story?
It'll have to be a two-story building to get the space we need on the size that lot is.
I was hoping we could do it with just
Yeah.
a one-story.
No way on the size of on the footprint of that lot, there's just no way to get that much space.
And then parking,
That's another thing we talked about. We wanted to have, although we got the big
Yeah.
lot over there, we would like some actual storefront on-site parking. So that starts to limit the size of your actual footprint for your ground floor too.
I think we
See,
ought to
that
get some,
building, I didn't mean to cut you off, that lot is like 128 foot wide and 123 foot deep.
I think we probably need to get going in a direction. I would like to see the PVA and the clerk, I'd like to get their input
Right.
on this building.
So,
Rather than entering into some type of a contract like today or next week or whatever with an architectural firm, I would really like to get some local input from those two offices.
right, okay, so what the guy explained, and Bill, you chime in if I overlook something or miss something. What the gentleman explained was, he would put together a proposal for what the architectural work would entail. It will entail several visits here locally. It would entail doing exactly what you're talking about, going to review exactly what they're doing over there now, what space they're using to do the deputy clerk work, the processing work up front, what space they're using for storage, what space they need to use for the attorneys and so forth coming over to do the work that they do. They'll come and make assessments of how the building, the current facility is being utilized, and talk with the staff about what works in this space, what doesn't work, where do you need the addition. So they put all that together and then do like just a preliminary floor plan footprint for all of us to review and say either, yes, this is really good, or hey, this is okay, but this needs to be changed. So they go through all of that. But there's a lot involved in the design review before it's ever put out to bid for construction.
I'm kind of like Marty, I'm a little bit disappointed. We need to stay away from a two-story building if possible. Because it just brings on maintenance issues from here on out. And ADA requirement, that drives the cost of this project up tremendously.
Well, yeah.
And,
Have to have an elevator for sure.
Yeah,
Or-
you have to have an
yeah.
elevator, and there's some things I didn't realize yesterday in talking to this guy. I guess elevator technology's come a long way. He said they've done elevators from buildings that only needs 18 to 24-inch pit under it.
Yeah, we just finished up one, it's got a 12-inch pit under it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instead of being one tube that's like 30 feet.
But you get what I'm saying here. That takes up a lot of real estate. It brings on other things. I'm a little bit disappointed that we can't put a building on that piece of property that would not require a two-story building. But, that's just,
I don't think we're gonna be able to buy the whole lot, Myron.
I doubt it.
Well, if we do, it might be in the $10 million range for a building.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Well, if the rest of the court members are fine with, I'm fine with doing that.
I'm definitely.
I've got it in my thought process. Do I want to make a decision today? I don't, but you threw a lot at us here, and I like to think about that,
Well, so what if I get a proposal on the scope of work from the architecture company to have at our next agenda, so you can see exactly what they're proposing to do and the way they'll do all
Would
of it?
that be at a minimum cost there, Mason,
Do what
Is
now?
there a cost to that?
There's no cost for him putting together a proposal.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have.
Judge,
Yes.
didn't he say that he would have, want the fee process done first before we done a proposal? That's the way I understood it.
The what now?
That he would have to, that they would put a fee proposal together for the architect and the engineer before they would come back and do anything. That's the way I understood it, but I may have understood it wrong.
That he would submit us a proposal for what the work would cost?
Well, the fee, the upfront fee for the architect and the engineer before he would, give us a proposal on floor plans or anything like that.
Well, what I understood him, what I understood him to say was that he would put us together a proposal as to what the architectural and engineering fees would be, but they would not actually start doing any work until we approved that and made a partial payment on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but there would be something required before we.
But yeah, he's not coming to look at the clerk's building and start doing review work unless we approve the. Right. Correct. Marty, you have anything?
I meant to bring this up at the last court meeting. I would like for fiscal court to send a letter to the Fish and Game asking them to change, if the rest of you agree with me, asking them to, if they would consider changing Simpson County from a Zone 3 to a Zone 1 on the deer hunting. That way there can be one doe a day harvested instead of just 2 in a year.
From zone what to zone what?
Zone 3 to Zone 1. Warren County is a Zone 2, and there's other counties around that are Zone 2, but we have so many vehicles. I mean, you talk to some of these repair shops. I know one, when my daughter hit that one, there were 19 in front of her out there that waiting to get it from deer. And then they're damaging crops and they're a hazard. There's just so many of them now. So maybe fiscal court sent that, and I know on one of those magistrate trainings, I was talking to a guy from Fish and Game, and I brought it up to him, and he said he didn't understand why Simpson County was still a Zone 3. It should be higher. So if we can, and then too, there's a lot of people like to eat deer, and if you open it where they can get more as high as food is in the stores now, it could help some people out that way. So if the court is inclined to do it, I would like for a letter to be sent and see if we could, before deer season open, maybe through a government body that could help get that done.
I mean, I'll be glad to send the letter if everybody wants it sent.
Yeah, fine.
One yes, one yes?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Okay. That doesn't take action, does it, Counselor? All right.
Write your letter, see
I'll
what they
draft a
say.
letter and send it.
All right. That's all I got.
Nate?
Yes, a little bit. For the Parks and Rec, the Little League regional tournament will be starting at the end of June. The youth soccer sign-ups begins this month. So if you got any kids who want to play soccer. The Industrial Softball League it's made up of 7 teams now, and they will begin in July. That's the softball league. And the director have received a quote on the park master plan. And then she's going to be sending it out to the county and then out to the city so they can look it over.
Okay.
Because, for maybe funding assistance on that park master plan. And with the Boys and Girls Club, the national conference is being held this week up in Chicago. And I'd like to thank Bobby and his crew for the hard work that they've been doing out there on Hatter Road. It has been 100% completed now, from one end to the next end. And most of the people that's out there now have said that they really enjoy it.
Very good.
They said it was a long time coming.
Do we have anybody from our local Boys and Girls Club in Chicago at the national?
Well, some of the staff and some of the board members are going
Okay.
up there.
None of the kids that you know of?
None of the kids that I know of.
Okay. I was just curious. Scott?
No report, sir.
Meyer?
No report.
Counselor?
No report.
Sheriff? No report.
I know we've been talking about monies coming in and this, that, and
it came in. I know we just talked a little bit about that. I just want to let you know that a lot of jails across the state didn't apply for that money. There's pool of money sitting there. We turned in, I think there's $198,000 worth of reimbursements that we qualified for. We may find more. So if the other jails do not claim that money, then there may be another pretty sizable check coming to us. It's one of those things that we have to go out and look for and fight, like the $4 being state can just give it to us. I was on that committee that fought for that to get it to our community. $325,000 or whatever it is, it's going to affect us. But I just want you to know the jail's probably in the best state, financial state it's ever been, at least in the last 20 years. And the big elephant is gone. That bond payment's gone. So I just want y'all to know to expect better things. We've got more flexibility now to generate more money. And I just want you to know about the COVID thing, to expect that. And that could be very soon too. So.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Chief, anything in the fire department?
Briefly, I don't necessarily need any court action. I just wanted to make you guys aware and I guess just agree with principle. You guys remember we started setting money back 3 years ago for we had a full line item budget, and that was for our hydraulic extrication tools. The purchase of set is quite expensive, and we, generally, instead of coming and saying, hey, I need $30,000, $40,000, we started a plan. So we were setting back our state aid reimbursement money and just putting into that line item. So we did that again. We requested in this budget that we're proposing because, again, inflation and all that things went up. The cost has gone up a little bit. So having said all of that, they came out with a new set of tools just Thursday, the newer version. We have an opportunity to purchase some demo tools at a lower, at a cheaper rate. And I think I've got it down to where we can actually buy a fourth tool that we currently don't use for right about the same monies that we would be if we just purchased 3 brand new ones. So I guess what I need is, if we put all that together, again, I don't have the money in this year's budget, but if we did put it all together and purchase all new, it's going to put us above that $30,000 threshold and all that, the bidding process and all that. But again, I have an opportunity to buy demo tools, and if I can give them an answer that says, yes, this is the direction we want to go, I can go ahead and purchase the demo tools today off of this current budget because the money is there. And then in this next budget, the remainder of the funds, when we get that money there, we would be able to purchase new. I can get like 2 used and 2 new, basically. I think if we can still.
They've only been used for demonstration purposes.
Just demos. Well, as a matter of fact, the spreaders, I think he told me he'd used them like 12 times, which is, that's nothing. We do that in an afternoon training on one of the sets. So again, I guess what I'm asking is just in principle, are you guys okay? Because it is going to be you will see a PO issued and a bill come through, and one of them's going to be about $21,000, the other for about $25,000. And that's if I go that direction.
25,000 or 2,500?
Yes. Like this year would be 21,000.
All right.
And then next year would be the 25, I believe it was.
So what you're saying is you have the money to buy it?
I do, yes.
If you buy the demo?
If we go the demo route, then I can do that on this year's budget.
And then will you have the money to buy the other on next year's budget?
Yes, the rest of the funds, when we get that additional 11,000, will go in there, and that would allow me to go ahead and make that purchase. And the only reason we're at a little bit of a time deal, the particular brand that we used and the service that we get, we're probably going back with that same brand. We've demoed a few others. We kind of like what we have. But they came out with the newest, latest, greatest last Thursday.
Now, I would assume if you don't jump on the deal on the demo tool,
That's the problem.
someone else is going to get it.
I'm perfectly fine with it, but do do they wear out after so long a time, like everything else, or?
Yeah, I mean,
or does
we've been
IS
operating the ones we have for about, 15 years now,
does-
roughly.
I mean, I was just wondering if the ISO rating made you.
No,
replace
ISO
that
really
kind of
doesn't
stuff?
care about,
Don't care about
they
extra.
don't care about car wrecks and
I
whatnot.
understand.
Now, I mean, there is a little bit of value potentially on when we're doing ISO, if we have a tool that can be used as a crossover, for instance, a chop saw that maybe we might, but it's just a minuscule amount of points, and it's not really even worth the conversation. But again, the point is, we're a little bit time sensitive if we do go that direction, and I haven't ruled out purchasing all new, the latest greatest, but from what I understand, some of the features of the latest greatest are just not worth it.
Chief, I would say if you feel good about the demo equipment, I would say call them up and tell them you want it.
Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, I wanted to run by it because it is above the 5,000 mark and it is going to be a substantial. I just wanted to run it by you guys and said I don't necessarily need any action on it other than.
Go get them on the phone.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. Carter, anything with planning and zoning? Bill, anything with maintenance? Bobby, anything with road department?
Might think if you want,
Do we need to think at the microphone?
road service, you're gonna start making road lists with explanation.
All the roads in the east, put them on there. Widen too.
Just saying, there's something you gotta think about, you gotta.
I will say, what day was that, Thursday when the tree fell across? Had a tree fall across, Friday, fell across Rock Road, and they were out there in just a short amount of time and got that out of the way. I appreciate it, and it was after they done, I'm assuming they done went home, and then they had to come back, somebody had to come back to get the stuff to do that. So he had to turn around and come back to the county barn and then go back out there, so. But appreciate all y'all do.
All right, if nothing else, I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Marty, second by Nate, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed?